This is a very quick little goddess flow, and we're going to practice the posture goddess, Deviasana. We'll start in a wide leg standing position and just start to warm up your neck and shoulders, knee bends one side and then the other. A couple little hip movements if you need. I like a standing back bend here. And then a really slow forward fold down into Prasarita Padottanasana. Lift your heels and bend your knees, squat, and then straighten your legs, and then round your spine, so like cat-cow. Inhale, rebend your knees, and take your chest through, open your heart. Exhale, fold, round your spine, keep your heels lifted. I'm on my fingertips just to make this a little easier, not dump into the hands. Inhale, open your chest, bend your knees, arch your back. Exhale, round, pull your back up to the ceiling, lift your heels, lift your knees, and then roll down to your heels. Forward fold, exhale. Prasarita Padottanasana. Pushing straight down into your feet. You can take your arms out wide, opens up your upper back a little bit more. Breathe right out into those ribs. Make sure your toes are pointing straight forward. Engage your inner arches and press straight down into your feet. And you can let your head just hover over the floor if it's not quite touching. And then just real slowly bend one knee. Keep the other leg straight without moving your toes. And then switch sides, straighten legs. And then go to the other side. Bend your opposite side knee. Keep the other leg straight. The toes have not turned in. And then again, come back up through straight. Both legs, forward fold. And take a half lift inhale. And take your left hand center. Zip those ribs in and up, and then start to twist open from your waist, not from your hips, and from your upper ribs actually instead of your waist. So keep the waist and the hips level. Exhale, release your twist. Switch sides, right hand center. Pull those front ribs in. Twist from the thoracic spine opening. Left arm can stretch up to the ceiling. Try to keep your hips level, and to do that, press down equally into both feet. And then exhale, release that twist. Lift your heels, lift your toes and roll on your heels, turn the toes out, and then roll back down to your toes. So just getting in some different articulations in this posture. Bend your knees here without turning your toes, and lift your heart. All right, start to spin on your feet. So your right foot points forward, left toes angle in. We're going to sit up for Trikonasana, triangle pose. Take your right hand to your right shin, and then start to open your left side up to the ceiling. Open your left arm. Press down into your left heel and squeeze your right thigh. Lengthen your torso and bend your right knee. And inhale, stretch your arm overhead and open your heart a little bit here, almost like a back bend. Exhale, re-straighten your right leg and pull yourself back up to Trikonasana. Inhale, bend your right knee, let your hips lower, open your heart. Exhale, Trikonasana. And one more time. Bend your right knee, stretch overhead. Inhale, a little bit of a back bend. And then let your hands come down to the floor, walking back over, turning your right toes back in. Prasarita Padottanasana, forward fold. Let your arms relax here. You can flip your hands back, palms up. Let your head hang. But keep your feet actively pressing. Okay, come back up into your half lift. Spin on your toes. Spin on your feet to face your toes forward. Left toes point to the back of your mat. And then your right toes angle in. Open up Trikonasana, Uttita Trikonasana. Squeeze the right thigh and press down into your left, or squeeze your left thigh and press that into your right heel. Lengthen out through your spine. Smooth out your breath. We'll start to move in just a moment. On your next inhale, bend your left knee and stretch your right arm over. Open your back a little bit, lower your hips a little bit, and then lift your hips back up. Press your left leg to straight, and lengthen out that torso again. Trikonasana. Bend your left knee. Inhale, open your chest. Little extended side angle stretch. And then exhale, press the left leg straight. Trikonasana. And then one more here. Go ahead and bend your left knee, stretch your right arm. Inhale, big breath. And then as you exhale, you're going to gently circle your hands down to the floor and spin on your feet to move back into Prasarita Padottanasana. So wiggle your feet around as you need. You can go a little bit side to side, taking any movements that feel good here. And just for a moment, a little forward fold. Tuck your chin in if you want to roll to the back of your head a little bit. All right, so step forward with your arms. Turn your left heel down, right toes point forward, bend your right knee. Inhale, lift up as if you were facing forward for Warrior One, but then open up Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana B. Spread out your toes, level out your hips. Inhale, keep your hips level as you reverse your warrior. Keep the right knee bent. Open your right side more. And then take your hands to the floor. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. So lift up halfway, left leg is lifted, and then exhale, deepen into the fold. And you can bend your left knee here. It's a standing split variation. Straighten out the left leg if it feels good. Then we're going to slowly transition into a number 4 squatting position. So touch down with your left toes. Inhale, come up, and then lift your left foot, squatting on that right knee, squatting on your right foot. Cross your left ankle or outer shin over your right thigh. Press your sit bones back and your chest through your shoulders. You can have prayer pose or hands at hips. So your right thigh muscles are engaged. You can feel the outer left hip stretching. Low back is long. And then float your left foot back behind you. Your hands come back to the floor again. Forward fold in a standing split. Lift that left leg up. Bend your right knee. Land deep to the back of your mat. Warrior One. Inhale, lift your head up to line up over the back of your hips. You can look up to your hands, open your arms, lift your chest. And exhale, take your hands down. Step your right foot back and then swing it up to the ceiling, 3-leg dog. And then here, open your hip if it feels good. Bend your left knee if it feels good. Work any kinks out. You can move through chaturanga if you'd like. I'm going to skip it today. I'm just going to step forward again with my right foot. So after a couple breaths here, squeeze the right knee back into your chest, step up to the top of your mat, and turn over Prasarita Padottanasana back to our starting position. This is a good place here if you want to pause the video and play with headstand. You can play with tripod, Shirshasana 2. And then when you're ready to move on to side 2, lift up halfway, spin to face to the back of the mat so your left knee bends, left toes are pointing at the end of the mat. Inhale, lift up like you're going to take Warrior One, but then open your arms and open your torso. Level out those hips by pressing your left hip forward and dropping your right hip down. Bend the right knee deep. Inhale your reverse warrior. Left hand's going to slide up to the ceiling. Right hand slides down the back of your leg. Bend the left knee even more. Big inhale here. And then we're going to exhale, slowly take those hands down to the floor. Lift up the back leg. Lift your heart. So it's a half lift and then a deep fold. Exhale in a standing split. Forward folding over your left leg as your right leg lifts. Maybe again, bend the right knee if you want. Half lift. Fold deeper. And then again, we're going to come into that number 4 squat. So I'm going to bend my left knee as I start to hover over the floor. Right toes land just for a little balance. Keep the left knee bent. Lift your head upright. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh and squat in that left leg. Press your sit bones back. Open your chest. Use your arms for balance wherever they're helpful. And see if you can slow your breath down. And that will additionally aid with balance. And then sweep your right foot back, hands to the floor, sweep the right leg up, standing split, big forward fold here. And then land down deep on the right foot to the back of the mat. Inhale, Warrior One, Virabhadrasana A. Reach your arms. Keep your arms apart just to open your chest and go for a really energizing back bend here. And then again, take your hands down to the floor. And you're going to move back to that 3-leg dog. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling. And then again, if you want to bend your knees here, take the additional chaturanga if you'd like. Stretch out your legs. And when you're ready, you're going to squeeze your left knee back into your chest and step through with your left foot so you can spin back over into wide leg forward fold. Coming back to the starting position. And just take a stretch to one side if it feels good. Come back to center. Maybe a twist. Revisit the twist if that felt better. Come over to the left side, stretching off. And then we're going to move into goddess squat. So I'm going to prep with a Skandasana surfer squat. So first I'm going to go to right foot, right toes turn out. And then I'm going to come up and go to left foot, left toes turn out. And then I'm going to add on to this without using my hands. Press up, no hands, squat, only as low as you can. Inhale, press up. Squat to the other side. So as you squat on one side, the other leg remains straight and those toes lift. And then go off to one, right side one more time. Inhale, up to one leg squat, to the other side, left knee. And then we're going to add in both legs, Garudasana, or not Garudasana, goddess squat. And this has a couple different names, so it could be Mahamalasana or Deviasana, or probably another name. But bend those knees in the direction of your toes. Hips are higher than your knees. You can take your arms out or forward or at heart. Hips are not as low as your knees. Strong thighs, press your knees apart, and then press your legs to straight. Turn your toes in, forward fold, exhale, Prasarita Padottanasana. And then from here, I'm going to half lift so I can jump my feet together and then spin to face the top of the mat and step right back into downward facing dog just for a few moments. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And child's pose is definitely an alternative here that you might enjoy instead. Someplace where you can just focus in on the breath, close your eyes down, feel your body moving. Make your way to your belly in the next breath or two. For locust, we're going to take Shalabhasana B version. So I'm going to keep my hands right where they are, as I would for cobra. Elbows are over the wrist, forearms are perpendicular, shoulders are open, chest is through, legs lift. Use your glutes, press back through your feet. Lift your chin, lift your chest. And then relax down. Take your feet out really wide, upward facing dog. So the feet are almost to the edges of your mat, and then roll over your toes for wide leg down dog. I like my feet really wide in this. Maybe you want a little bit more of a moderate stance, so you could take your feet in a little bit more, a moderately wide stance. But just feel the space that happens in the hips when you open those feet. All right, now take your knees in and down, then lift your feet and take your big toes together for Balasana, child's pose. Hips to heels, and pull your sit bones down towards the backs of your heels so you can feel a rounding in your spine. And a couple rounds of breath here just to relax your back after the back bend. All right, then roll up into table and come to seated. Take your feet out in front of you. Move into a seated forward fold, Janu Shirshasana. Right foot comes up, and then turn the right knee out. Inhale. Exhale, fold over your left leg with the sole of your right foot pressing into your inner left thigh. Keep pressing your outer right thigh down towards the floor. And lengthen your heart forward. You might want to block on top of your shins, or you might want to pillow your fists. Pull your shoulders open and chest through the shoulder heads. Keep pressing out through your left foot. Squeeze your left thigh, the top, and then press down into the outer right thigh on the floor or a block or a blanket. And on your next inhale, lift up. And we're going to come into Apanasana. Hug your knees into your chest and roll down. Squeeze those knees really tight and then lower your head down. And just stay here for a few moments. Feeling your back relax on the floor, getting out of that forward fold. And then we're going to rock up to seated and take the second side, Janu Shirshasana. Right leg out straight. Left foot comes in to the inner right thigh. Open your left knee down. Press out through your right foot and lengthen out over your right leg. And then again, you might want to pillow your fists here. Open your shoulders, press that outer left thigh towards the floor. And feel your hip bones squeeze towards your belly button. Inhale, come up to seated. And again, you're going to catch your knees into your chest and roll onto your back, Apanasan. Hug knees tight, tight, and then head down and shoulders down, and keep the front hips squeezed. Stretching out the glutes, low back. Now grab down for your feet, open your knees, interlace your fingers on the outside edges of your feet. Soles of your feet are coming together and your knees are opening. You're creating a resistance by plugging your shoulders back down into the floor and pulling on your feet from your shoulders, not your biceps, and then pushing into your hands with your feet, and then press your knees away from your shoulders. So it's a little resistance bound angle on your back. And then we're going to take this into a wide angle. So I'm going to take my hands, my feet up rather, together, and I'm going to take my hands over my toes to the balls of my feet, and then open the legs out, and then pull down with the shoulders. But here, fight your hands with your feet. So press back into your hands with your feet and pull your shoulder blades down towards the floor. And only take this as far apart as it feels good for your thigh bones to separate. And then we're going to move this into a reclining forward fold, Supta Paschimottanasana. Take your feet together and pull those feet overhead. Again, your hands are hooking over the bottoms of your toes to the balls of your feet, and you're pressing into your hands with your feet. There's core engagement here. And there's also a lot of length in your neck. So the weight is not in your head and neck. It's on the middle of your upper back. Creating that resistance with your hands and your feet, pressing into each other. All right, and then roll down onto your back. Rock up to seated. Hug your knees in. We're going to take an easy noose pose. So with your seated position, like a seated Apanasana, heels into your sit bones. Hook with your left elbow on the outside of your right thigh. Take your right hand behind you and lift your chest and twist towards the right. You can look past the right shoulder or out towards the right side of the room. And then we're going to let those knees fall over to the right. If you feel any catching, resituate them so that it doesn't feel uncomfortable in your hips. But let your left sit bone lift up, and it's almost like a back bend. You're almost like your chest can face all the way to the back, and lift your heart and extend your low back. All right, swing about around back through to seated so we can take the second side. So now your right elbow is going to hook your left thigh and squeeze those heels in towards your sit bones. Open your chest. So keep your left shoulder from collapsing in, and sometimes I like to take my left hand up to my right hand rather, up to the left shoulder on the collarbone area so I can feel it. If it collapses, I'll feel it under my right hand. And again, take your gaze where you like, back or forward. And then we're going to let those knees drift off to the left. Again, if you feel any catching, just work it out. Don't move too quickly. Move nice and slow. And then again, a nice little opening here. So once your hands move to the back, open your chest through your shoulders. Lift your right sit bone up. And then on your next inhale, you come back to seated, swinging your knees back up to center and untwist. And then from here, we'll grab a couple blocks, set up for a fish position, a fish heart opener, so Matsyasana. I'm using the block on the second height and putting it right under my shoulder blades. And then the second block I have, I'm going to take it on its lowest height and press the top of my head into it, like this is where you would take headstand, right? And hands can rest on your hips. Elbows can pull back down towards the floor, but just keep your chest open. So try to keep the shoulder heads plugging back, almost like you can squeeze the block with your shoulder blades. I'm going to take that block out and put the very top of my head on the floor. Again, it's that spot where as if you were taking headstand, that's where it would be. And again, pull your shoulders open. So you're not pulling them down. You're just, again, squeezing the block with those upper back muscles. Ankles are easily crossed, or maybe even feet to the floor with your knees to the ceiling. And feel the support of the floor under your head or the block under your head, and it allows for a safer opening of the chest. Use your core to come back up to seated. You can use your hands to assist, and then straighten out your legs in front of you. Paschimottanasana, straight leg seated forward fold. Take an inhale first, and then exhale, fold into it. So that's broken up into a couple different breaths, so you don't just flip-flop from one to the other. Press out through your feet, engage your thighs, and lengthen your torso by using your belly muscles to press your chest forward. And then start to come up to seated, inhaling to lift up. And you'll take your ankles into a crisscross. You can take Tadasana or Sukhasana. I'm going to use a block. So you can cross your ankles or stack your heels in front of the other. I could use a block under your sit bones, and that'll lift your hips and allow your knees to drop for more rotation in the thighs, more comfortable rotation. We'll just pause here for a few moments, starting to practice a little breath retention, kumbhaka. And so at first, all you really do is notice the space between the breaths. So when you inhale, there's a slight pause after the inhale. And then when you exhale, there's a slight pause at the bottom of the exhale. And just focus this on the next few rounds of breath. And you might notice your inhale gains a little length, the exhale as well. And even those pauses in between the breaths might just extend very effortlessly, very slightly, just a slight little pause. Just giving the breaths time to complete their cycles before moving on to the next. And feel your head stacking up over your hips. You can feel your sit bones on the floor or the block. Be careful not to lean forward and chase your breath here. Just let the breath move in and out. And then I'm going to use my right hand here. I'm going to seal my right nostril and breathe in through my left side nose. Seal your left side nostril. Breathe out through the right if you're practicing this Chandra Vedan. Seal the right nostril and breathe in through the left. Chandra means moon. So this is moon piercing breathing. Seal your left nostril. Breathe out through the right. Seal your right nostril and feel a slight pause, and then inhale through the left. And this is a really cooling, calming breath to practice before meditation. Seal your left, pause, breathe out of the right. And just breathing in through your left, out through your right. Use this as guidance, and maybe you pause this and go at your own pace. And you can take 5 to 8 rounds of this without rushing, without forcing, breathing in through your left and out through your right, using your hand and your fingers gently to close the nostrils. Again, this is Chandra Vedan, so it's moon piercing, which is the left side of your body, the calm, quiet, introspective side. And then you can let your hand come back to your thigh and just sit there and feel that centering effect of the breath, calming, cooling, quieting. This is a great place to sit and take a meditation, or even lie back and take relaxation. And whenever you're moving, however you're moving, when it's time for you to end your practice, as always, take a moment and think about the gratitude that you have for yourself. and express that as you prefer. You can take hands to heart center. You can bow over your hands. You can hold anything dear there in the palms, a blessing or an intention. Thanks, yogis.